Hello and welcome to the weekend edition of National Focus. I'm your presenter, Mervin. Thank you for joining us. Our top stories. Japan's new ambassador to Dominica presents credentials. Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit reveals government's plans to modernize the communities of St. Joseph, Layou and Mero. And the Shaakira Pierre will also report on further assistance to Dominica from the government of Japan. Details of these and other stories coming up.
Scary! Everything just shaking and making big creaky noises.
Earthquakes, big and small, take place in the Caribbean at least 10 times a year.
The dish is rattling and falling and breaking. Then one started to scream.
All I could think to do was shout, "Get outside, get out!"
Earthquakes, hazards, take control, reduce your loss. If an earthquake hits, what can you do? Get down, get under an item of furniture like a table. Hold on and stay there until the quake passes. Find out lots more about earthquakes and other hazards at your local disaster office. A message from your National Disaster Office and Skerrit.
Thank you for staying with us. President of Dominica, His Excellency Charles Savary, has extended thanks to the government and people of Japan for its assistance to Dominica since establishment of relations between the two countries in 1978. President Savary expressed gratitude as he addressed a short ceremony on Wednesday at the State House as Japan's new ambassador to Dominica presented his credentials.
I note in particular your country's quick expression of condolences and offers assistance in the wake of the devastation caused by Tropical Storm Erika in August of 2015, and more recently in the wake of the near total devastation caused by Hurricane Maria in September of 2017. In response to these catastrophic events, the government of Japan provided equipment and supplies valued in excess of $9 million, which contributed significantly to our recovery and reconstruction efforts.
His Excellency Savary also thanked the Japanese government for launching the Japan World Bank Disaster Risk Management Program, which seeks to improve disaster risk management in developing countries.
Recently, Dominica was able to benefit from this timely initiative through a number of approved projects, all geared to further propel our socio-economic development and advancement. These projects include Housing Recovery Project, Emergency Agricultural Livelihoods and Climate Resilience Project, additional financing of Dominica's Disaster Vulnerability Reduction Project, and the Dominica Geothermal Risk Mitigation Project. Like Dominica and other island states, Japan is also prone to natural disasters and has its own challenges to deal with. We are heartened that despite its vulnerabilities and challenges, Japan remains committed and to providing support which will assist Dominica and the region in overcoming the tremendous challenges posed by climate change.
His Excellency Tatsuo Hirayama replaces former Ambassador Mitsuhiko Okada as Japan's new ambassador to Dominica.
The Commonwealth of Dominica has been making a most admirable recovery after the devastating effects of Hurricane Maria. Japan has also been grappling with the efforts of the effects of typhoons and severe heat waves. The combined experience of our two countries demonstrates the need for us to deepen cooperation to address the major problem posed by climate change. With respect to our existing ties, I sincerely hope to develop our bilateral relations to the next level with Your Excellency's kind help and generous support of the people of the Commonwealth of Dominica.
The government of Japan has assisted Dominica with the provision of equipment and supplies and assistance to reconstruct the Roosevelt and Mero fisheries complexes. Shaakira Pierre has more in this report.
What better way to celebrate 41 years of friendship but to lend a helping hand? And the government of Japan did just that with a donation of equipment and supplies to the government of Dominica during a ceremony held on Wednesday. The donation included loaders, chainsaws, dump trucks, command vehicles, and compactor trucks. This gesture was made to assist Dominica in its goal to become the first climate-resilient nation in the world. For the newly appointed Japanese ambassador to Dominica, His Excellency Tatsuo Hirayama, this was a proud moment, and he was filled with joy as this donation was his first order of business in Dominica. The ambassador says the equipment will contribute to Dominica's preparedness to natural disasters. He urged those using the vehicles to take special care of the equipment.
I am convinced that with the equipment procured under our grant assistance will contribute to better preparedness and resiliency of this country to natural disasters. It is in everyone's best interest that this equipment will be properly utilized and kept well maintained. First and foremost, the community will be able to feel safe and secured in the case of possible disasters. Additionally, when the government of Japan observes optimal care and use of the equipment, this would demonstrate our assistance bears tangible fruit in an efficient and effective manner.
Minister for Foreign Affairs and CARICOM Affairs, Honorable Francine Baron, says Japan has always assisted Dominica, especially in the fishing sector.
Over these past years, Dominica-Japan relations has had particular focus on the fishery sector and its overall operations and management. We have seen the construction, among other things, of the Roosevelt and Mero fisheries complex, both of which suffered extensive damage from Maria. We are indeed pleased, Ambassador, that your government has agreed to assist us with the rehabilitation and equipping of these facilities, and that we will sign on to the grant agreements this afternoon. The amount of approximately 27 million EC dollars is being provided for that, and we are deeply grateful for the generosity of the Japanese government.
The Japanese government has also assisted Dominica in the form of training for those involved in the fisheries sector, which will enable them to further themselves and bring economic development to Dominica.
We have had the opportunity to participate in many training programs, which has helped to build capacity in a number of areas, including in the fisheries sector, training in waste management and disaster management and response. And of course, Ambassador, we know as we in Dominica are vulnerable to natural disasters, Japan is equally vulnerable to those events as well. And we hope and pray that Typhoon 19 will not cause too much damage to your people and that it will not result in the loss of life. And so we stand in solidarity with you, knowing how traumatic these experiences can be. The government of Japan has also facilitated the development and expansion of Dominica's fish aggregating device or FAD program.
Following the passage of Tropical Storm Erica and Hurricane Maria, Japan's contribution to Dominica totaled over 9 million EC dollars.
Over the past 4 years, in response to Tropical Storm Erica and Hurricane Maria, the government of Japan has provided to the government and people of the Commonwealth of Dominica equipment and supplies valued in excess of 9 million EC dollars. The equipment and supplies have helped to build resilience and improve the efficiency of critical first response agencies. Much of the equipment and supplies are already in use and are contributing in a tangible way to our country's recovery and reconstruction.
The beneficiary agencies of the equipment and supplies are the Ministry of Public Works and Ports, the Fire and Ambulance Service, the Office of Disaster Management, and the Solid Waste Management Corporation. Later that day, Dominica received additional assistance from the government of Japan as 27 million EC dollars was made available for the reconstruction of the Margot and Roseau fisheries complexes. Notes of agreements were signed between the government of Dominica and the government of Japan during a ceremony at the Ministry of Finance conference room. This was a commitment made by the government of Japan to the people of Dominica after the passage of Hurricane Maria in 2017, as the storm completely destroyed these buildings. Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit thanked Japan for its outpouring of assistance following the most deadliest storms in Dominica's history, Tropical Storm Erica and Hurricane Maria.
We are grateful for the solidarity that has been demonstrated to us by the government of Japan. The response to Dominica, particularly following Tropical Storm Erica and Hurricane Maria, was immediate and extremely helpful to us in our relief and recovery efforts. Your commitment to assist Dominica in responding to natural disasters and to support economic and social development under the non-profit grant aid project has been very beneficial to our people.
Japan is currently being threatened by Typhoon 19, and they too are vulnerable to natural disasters. Honorable Skerrit says he hopes that all will be well and the country will be spared.
While Japan is by no means a small island state, you face similar challenges as we do, in that you're equally vulnerable to natural disasters, having suffered from the devastating effects of typhoons, tsunamis, and floods. We have had the opportunity to benefit over the years from technical assistance in disaster risk management and response, and the development of capacity in other areas, such as effective waste management and fisheries development. It is my understanding that Japan is now being threatened by Typhoon 19, and having recently experienced devastating effects of Category 5 storm ourselves, and witnessing the damage done to the islands of the Bahamas by Hurricane Dorian, we can only hope and pray that Japan will be spared from this disaster and any possible loss of life.
Deputy Prime Minister and Minister for Agriculture, Food and Fisheries, Honorable Reginald Austrie, informed that this donation will help with the development of the fisheries sector and better the livelihood of all involved.
This day brings joy and confidence to the fishing sector. Joy because this intervention is an intervention in the development of the fisheries sector, contributing to sustainable livelihoods and building back better facilities that are more resilient, as well as to provide greater services to our people. The Roseau Fish Landing Site was one of the most active landing sites before Hurricane Maria, with an annual fish landing of about 200,000 pounds of fish. This facility also served as a market for daily catches with a well-managed fish storage area and crushed ice production, as well as offices from which the Fisheries Department provided management to the fisheries sector.
Dominica and Japan established diplomatic relations in 1978. For National Focus, I am Shaakira Pierre.
All thanks to Shaakira for that report. In more news, there are plans by the DLP administration to modernize the communities of St. Joseph, Mero, and Layou. Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit confirmed this at the official handover of 42 residential units at Hillsborough Gardens this week.
What we want to do with St. Joseph, Layou, and Mero is to seek to transform these communities into more modern communities. And so we are building homes there, and we intend to build about 100 homes there in Hillsborough Gardens. And as we move you from St. Joseph and Layou and Mero, the intention is to redevelop these existing communities into coming into what we're doing here in Hillsborough Gardens. And to make St. Joseph, Mero, and Layou aesthetically more appealing and more comfortable and more inviting for commercial and social activities. So that is the vision for us here in St. Joseph.
And Prime Minister Skerrit says his administration is pleased with the impact the housing program is having on the lives of hundreds of families island-wide.
For me personally, of course, for the government, it is not about the cost of these homes that preoccupies our minds. For us, it is the joy that handing over a key brings to a family, people, the difference it makes in their lives.
Honorable Kelvadaro is parliamentary representative for the St. Joseph constituency.
This afternoon I stand here as a proud parliamentary representative because 10 years ago we completed the first phase of the Hillsborough Gardens development, and we can see the first 30 homes to my right, your left. And now, 10 years later, we have begun the second phase of this development, which I will speak to in more detail in a while. But it shows, my dear friends, a government with a vision, a government with a plan, a government that cares, and a government that has effective and proper leadership.
Artists and bands in Dominica and around the world are preparing for an exciting 2019 edition of Dominica's World Creole Music Festival. On Thursday, GRS News got the opportunity to witness firsthand Dominica's Lady of Song, Ophelia, rehearsing for her performance on night 2 of the festival. Aliyah Martin spoke with the award-winning artist.
Miss Ophelia, how are you?
I'm okay, Aliyah. You can call me Auntie or just Ophelia. That'd be nice.
Okay, no problem, Auntie.
Yes.
Can you go ahead and tell us a little bit of yourself and your musical background?
Okay, I can tell you I've been singing professionally for 40 years. That has been said a lot of places this year. I started when I was 4 and when I was in Lushikadushi in Curacao. That is the equivalent of a preschool. Okay. I remember I was a little king bringing a gift to Jesus. So I had a little costume on and I had to sing a song. Unfortunately, I don't remember the song, but from there I remember also singing at home with my parents, my brother, my sisters, my daddy, who was the one who kind of guided us and led us. Then I came to Dominica and the music continued in the schools. And it was when I married McCarthy Marie and he became my manager, I decided, or they decided for me, that I should go to Paris, join Gordon Henderson, do my first album. And afterwards, the music came to Guadeloupe and Martinique and took off, really took off. Okay. I was the first solo lady to make a contribution to Cadence Lipso. And my first record came out in 1978. And in February of 1979, I did my first solo show out of Dominica. And from then, I have been to a lot of places in the world, representing Dominica and singing my music.
In terms of your preparation, well, we just witnessed a rehearsal, but I wouldn't call it a rehearsal. I thought it was a party. You are set to grace the stage on the night of Saturday, October 26th.
Yes, I am within the Cadence Lipso experience, and there are 2 other top artists with me. I am the sandwich. They are the sandwiching me, yes. One gentleman before me and another gentleman, a big one after me. Okay. So I am well placed. Well, I feel ready. I have made the psychological preparation, so I'm ready for that. In fact, I was invited to go to a conference in Tobago on the 24th, and I said, oh no, I'm not being anywhere far from Dominica as late as that, because I'm performing on the Saturday. So there's the psychological space that has been created, and I'm singing my music even spontaneously. And when I come to rehearse with top-notch musicians, as you see me rehearse with. I mean, that only completes the opportunity for being prepared.
That's not your first time on the stage at World Queer Music Festival.
No, it's only the 6th time. I'm an old lady in that. And I'm enjoying it. I really am enjoying it. I want to encourage the ladies who will be part of the show to make it big, because we have things to say and we say those things in ways that are completely different from the gentlemen.
Right. Well, thank you. And is there anything you'd like to say to your fans?
No, I just like to tell them, hey, come on Friday, come on Saturday, and come on Sunday. The World Queer Music Festival is ours. Because of the confidence we have in our music, we were able to organize a festival based on our music for the rest of the world to see. So embrace what is yours. And the malpale about, like Ophelia always there and she dancing so. Relax, man. Come and have fun. Come. We're looking for you.
You're watching National Focus. More when you return.
Let your spirit take to flight. Let your heart run free and wild. Find your soul in Dominica, the nature
Scary. Everything just shaking and shaking and making big creaky noises.
Earthquakes, big and small, take place in the Caribbean at least 10 times a year.
The dishes rattling and falling and breaking. Then Vonnie started to scream.
All I could think to do was shout, "Get outside, get out!"
Earthquakes, hazards, take control, reduce your loss. If an earthquake hits, what can you do? Get down, get under an item of furniture like a table. Hold on and stay there until the quake passes. Find out lots more about earthquakes and other hazards at your local disaster office. A message from your National Disaster Office and Sidera.
Welcome back. The Ministry of Health and Social Services has launched a national campaign to raise awareness of issues related to mental health. The theme for the campaign, headed by consultant psychiatrist Dr. Nadia Wallace and Dr. Griffin Benjamin, is mental health promotion and suicide prevention. Dr. Benjamin spoke with GIS News on Thursday as the world observed World Mental Health Day.
The international community is focusing its attention on preventing suicide, because suicide happens to be a phenomenon that has public health importance in that so many people kill themselves each year. It's reported that around 800,000 persons die by suicide every year, and also that around every 40 seconds around the world a person takes his own life. Because of that data, that existence, even in the Caribbean, although you may ask why are we joining the rest of the world when we hardly report suicide in Dominica, and that's true. We are in a region in the world where suicide behavior or successful suicide is not a common phenomenon. In other words, we'll find in Dominica, for example, we had a high of about 7 persons dying in Dominica in 2001, and it has reached down to 0 some years, 1, 2. So
Dr. Benjamin believes that major progress has been made to break the stigma attached to mental illness.
People feel more at home when they're with us now. I mean, people, we are discharging person and they say, Doc, I think I need another week. I can't go home like this. I don't want to have problems when I go home. So there's more acceptance of the fact that your mind can become disturbed, just like the rest of your body. In fact, your mind is more likely to become disturbed when things change in the environment than your body, because you have to perceive it and you have to act upon it decisively using your brain. And so people have accepted that a lot more, and I think they responded much better.
With regards to suicide prevention, Dr. Benjamin has this message for nationals.
Once you understand that suicide is a preventable condition, you are motivated to take the action necessary and resolve your problem rather than try to kill yourself. And we will try our best to be available to people, provide the treatment that they need, and get families to take action as soon as they see signs and symptoms that are indicative of suicide behavior.
The highlight of this year's campaign is to conduct consultations with the Ministry of Health and Social Services ahead of the establishment of a standard operating procedure manual for the management of suicide in Dominica.
One of the things we are trying to do this week and next week is to develop what we call a standard operating procedure for the management of suicide in Dominica. So we are saying anytime a person appears in front of you as a health professional, there are certain things you must do. You must do a measurement of his risk. You must determine whether in the next 24 hours, what are the chances that he will successfully end his life? And if it's relatively high, you must take certain action. Once you're uncomfortable with your findings, you have to pass that patient over up to somebody who has more authority than you.
And finally, this news time, Alia Martin spoke with reggae dancehall artist Colton T this week as he prepares for his first performance at the island's premier musical event.
Today we are talking to local dancehall artist Colton T, who will be performing on Friday, October 25th at the World Creole Music Festival. Colton T, welcome to GIS. Really, can you tell us who Colton T is?
Colton T is the leading dancehall reggae artist / public figure in Dominica right now. Yeah.
And you'll be performing at the World Creole Music Festival.
This is actually my first time on the lineup. Yeah. I did a Jeff Joe tribute a couple of years back, but this will be my first time actually presenting my craft. And, yeah.
Well, so far, what can you describe as your greatest achievement in the music industry?
Pulling off my Bomb in the City event that was held last year, December 1st.
If you know what it means to not give up, let me hear you make some noise. Yeah, tell them I am. Yeah, call me Mr. Bomb Diggy Diggy. I am a bomb in the city.
As we know, artists that are in my genre, it's not the norm for them to do their own show or be the headline act of their own show. And you know, I successfully pulled off my own show last year, and we'll be doing it again this year, December 14th. Yeah, no, December 7th. Yeah.
You recently composed a song on behalf of your mom who passed away.
Yeah.
And how has that been for you?
I mean, at the end of the day, you know, life is what it is, and you know, some things we just have to accept. And that was one of those situations. And you know, I am real. That's where I am real in my music, and that's where I pour my passion, and that's where I was able to express, you know, a lot of my feelings. Yeah.
It was a very emotional song.
Yeah, definitely.
You left me and gone, oh, yeah. And though your memories live on, it's still hard for me. You left me and gone, oh, yeah. And though your memories live on, it's still hard for me.
And in terms of your preparation?
I mean, if the festival was tomorrow, I can say my team and I were ready.
But I am ready, yeah. Been a while that I've been on this grind. Disappointment's killing my life. but my emotions are steady. Yeah.
It's
Well, that's
something
good.
that we've been working for, for a very long time. And, right now we're just getting the opportunity to present ourselves, in living colors, yeah.
What can you say that we can expect from Colton T on the night of Friday, October 25th at the World Queer Music Festival?
Well, the people can expect, professionalism, class. Definitely we'll be making history because after Nasio Fontaine, well, I'm the first local dancehaller to make it to that stage. So definitely we'll be creating history on that night, another achievement to add under the belt, so the people can just come out and just expect greatness.
How would you describe the Dominica Festival?
I think the World Queer Music Festival is a great platform and a great stage, and it's a platform that artists like myself can aspire to reach, and I think the moment that you reach on such a platform, you can use it as a part of your resume to touch any platform, around the region and possibly anywhere in the world, because the show is of that standard and it attracts that kind of magnitude of people.
And what would be the next step for you, let's say after festival?
Oh, well, Bomb in the City.
Bomb in the City.
December 7th, we just want to ask people to, show up and show out. It's a local event with the same touch of class, and we're just going to be bringing everything, more fire. So, it's going to be more music, more tunes, more videos, more charity events. So that's what's next. More work.
That's all I do is work. And if life ain't give me nothing, then I'm still gonna work. All I'm gonna do is work.
Last year, if I recall correctly, Bomb in the City was held at the forecourt in the stadium.
Yeah.
Do you have an idea where you will host the event this year?
Most likely it's gonna be at the stadium forecourt again. I mean, it's a bomb in the city. We wouldn't want to have it anywhere else.
Right.
Yeah, so most likely or more than likely it will be in the stadium forecourt, definitely. Well, I would just like to say thank you to my fans, the people who support me on a regular, and just ask, the Dominican patrons, who don't know Colton T or who haven't seen Colton T yet, to come out on the 25th, to support and to witness class, yeah.
Well, there you have it, guys. Colton T will be performing live at the World Queer Music Festival Friday, October 25th.
All I'm gonna do is work. You're gonna put in the work. You're gonna put in the work.
Scary. Everything just shaking and shaking and making big creaky noises.
Earthquakes, big and small, take place in the Caribbean at least 10 times a year.
The dishes rattling and falling and breaking. Then Vonnie started to scream.
All I could think to do was shout, "Get outside, get out!"
Earthquakes, hazards, take control, reduce your loss. If an earthquake hits, what can you do? Get down, get under an item of furniture like a table. Hold on and stay there until the quake passes. Find out lots more about earthquakes and other hazards at your local disaster office. A message from your National Disaster Office and SEDERA.
And that's news. Now for the weather outlook. A weak high pressure system is a dominant feature over the northern and central portions of the island chain. Occasional cloudiness with a few brief showers can be expected during the next 24 hours. Unstable conditions are, however, projected to linger over the extreme southern Windward Islands. By Sunday, a tropical wave is expected to approach the area. Moderate seas are expected during the next 24 hours, with waves peaking near 7 feet. Small craft operators and sea bathers, particularly on the east coast, should exercise caution. And that's National Focus. On behalf of the GIS News Production team, I'm Mervin. Have a great weekend.